Hello, now we are on lesson 5 of your ratio booklet, and again it's more percentages before we actually start work on ratio. So we're going to look at harder percentages for lesson 5, and we're going to look at questions like this, finding 15% of something. Okay, now let's think about how we can find 15%. Well, 15% is made up of 10% and 5%. Now we know how to find 10%. 10% we divide by 10, so 10% will be 6. We know how to find 5% from last lesson. We just halve 10%. So what do you think we're going to do now to find 15%? Well, we can see 15% is 10% add 5%. So if we just add these two numbers, we will get our answer for 15%. So I found 10%, I found 5%, and I added them to get 15%. So let's do one more example. Make sure you write this in your books, please, to find 15% of 700. So the key is, I'm going to find, these are the steps, I'm going to find 10%, I'm going to find 5%, and then I'm going to add them together to get 15%. So you could pause now and have a go at doing that. So 10% divide by 10, 5% half 10%, add the two together to get 15%. So I get £105. Okay, so you're going to have a go now at these 3 questions, and I've set the work out for you. Okay, so you're going to try 1, 2, 3, and pause the video and set it out the same way, 10%, 5%, 15%. So set it out exactly like I showed you in my examples. Okay, well done. So 10% will be 4, 5% is 2, 15% add the 2 together is 6. Next one, 10% 40, 5% 20, add them together to get 15%. Question 3, 10%, 5%, add them together to get 15%. So hopefully you're now experts at finding 15% of something. Right, I'm going to go on to 2 harder questions now, getting really into being a percentage expert now. So let's think about how we could find 35% of a number. I'm always going to start off with 10%. Then I'm going to find 30%. Then I'm going to find 5%. And then I'm going to think to myself, I can add these 2 together to find 35%. Okay, so those are the steps. Right, so 10% divide by 10. 30% times 10% by 3. 5% is half of 10%, so half of 4. And to get 35%, I'm just going to look at these 2 here. I don't want the 10%, so I add 30% and 5% to get 35%. So there's my answer. Make sure you understand that, please. Email me if you don't. Right, my last example of today, before you're going to try some more questions, is to find 65%. So let's think of the steps. We're going to do 10%, we're going to do 60%, and we're going to do 5%. And then we're going to add these 2 to get 65%. So pause and have a go, and then I'll go through the answer. So 10% is 6, times that by 6 to get 60%. Half the 10% to get 5%, and I'm just adding these 2 here to get 65%. So I get £39 as my answer. Right, so before I give you your learning check, I would like you please to try this one here. Okay, on your own, off you go. Okay, 10% is 8, times it by 3, half 10% to get 5%, so half 8. Add these two together to get 35%. Okay guys, and this is your learning check please. Okay, so we're not doing it from the book, we're just doing these 4 questions is your compulsory work. Okay, so those 4 questions are compulsory, and this is your optional extra challenge, these 2 questions. So set it out beautifully, set it out like I showed you in this example here please. Yeah, really clear. So you're finding 10% and 5%. You're setting it all out beautifully. Okay, and that's the end of this lesson.